I'm just getting set up right now. Let me set up this YouTube chat first. Here we have this YouTube chat. Okay. And this is Hit or Miss Radio from yesterday's stream. Dude, I want to listen to music, but you know what? Whatever, dude. I'm just gonna. Actually, I kind of do want to listen to music. Where's my headphones? Give me a sec. It's just I want to make this my routine because ever since streaming, I started listening to less music because of what do you call it? Because of like copyright issues and it makes it harder to like just like I have speakers in the house, but I can't even turn them on because if it gets caught on my microphone, then my stream gets taken down. So I actually stopped listening to music for a while, but I would rather just put my headphones on and listen to some music and get my blood, get the good vibrations going. So I think I'm connected. Here we go. I don't want to listen to Do You Found Glory though. That's too much. Interesting. Maybe I'll try this. It's been a while. Oh, no. Turn that off. I gotta do it from my Spotify, my desktop client. All right, here we go. All right, we might be having more comments in SAT General. Might as well. So I'm gonna just answer this question right away. Oh, Daniel, what's up? Good morning or good evening wherever you are. I'm assuming you're in the East Coast, because that's basically where all of my viewers are from, like U.S. East Coast. It's 5:50 in Korea, 5:50 a.m. Oh, Loy, welcome to the stream. You used the mapping method, and do you think it really helped? Yeah. Basically, I'm gonna type everything you just said, but you know what? I'm just gonna screenshot. Oops, my computer's lagging for a second. What's going on? Okay, there you go. To build out your map of the passage, which basically tells you where to look. All right, that's my rough. And now there's like this meta thing where Dan is now talking on stream to himself. Oh wait, but he didn't type anything. Okay. Hang on. So today I actually got a couple YouTube comments. Yay, it's been a while. It looks like now that it's the end of July, people are studying for the August SAT again. And so people are watching, people are coming back to YouTube again, which is kind of interesting. But I mean, it makes sense because when I was a kid, I was always procrastinating too. I mean, I still procrastinate now that I think about it. I'm not, that hasn't suddenly gone away, although it's become a lot less extreme than when I was a kid. But yeah, I would always procrastinate as a kid. And so I sympathize with the YouTube engagement dying and then coming right back up right before the August test. Okay, so somebody's asking about number 28 here. So I'm going to go into that really quickly. But guys, if you are in the chat, feel free to just say hi and, say whatever's on your mind. Okay, let me get into this question. For this, I need to actually lower my volume for the music. Let me do this. Hang on. What is this? Oh, this is my YouTube video for... okay, now I need to find number 28. Man, is there not a way to like... I guess if I... Yeah, there we go. If I zoom out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. 28. Let's look at 28. So 28 is passage 3. Yeah, so working study. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it's now I'm actually like I started teaching SAT again last year, and so I haven't really gotten in that time. I haven't gotten the sort of it's not been on my priority to like check all the reading books and writing books that are out there. I already have my own way of teaching that I developed years ago. So just a big caveat right now. I'm about to say the answer yes, okay? But here's the disclaimer. I haven't really checked all the other writing tests, all the other writing resources that are out there. But I did read the Erica Meltzer through last year. And when I went through it, I was like, okay, I would disagree with a couple of minor things, but honestly, in terms of just getting through like the basics, this is good stuff. So I had no problem with using the Erica Meltzer in some of my classes when the academy I was working at just gave it to me to use. So Erica Meltzer, no big complaints, pretty clean. A good way to just get some basics about the grammar and about sentence ordering out of the way. I don't necessarily agree with everything that's in there, but I think especially if you're just starting out, like if I was a kid and I just had Erica Meltzer, that would have just been such a big help back in the day. Now, did I live in America or did I just... No, I am born and raised. I was born... I didn't warm up my mouth, so like I feel very... like, like I can't talk right now. Anyway, I was about to say something, which is... Did I live in America or did I just... I was born in Los Angeles and I grew up in Las Vegas. I didn't... it would be amazing if I had this level of English, like growing up my whole life in a country that's not the States. Like, it would be so hard to have this level of English. I mean, there are some really good non-native English speaker streamers who are really good at English, but, I think you could tell, like... I have a lot of Americanisms in my speech. How long do I usually take to finish the English section? I think it depends on what you mean by the English section, but out of 65 minutes, I will usually finish. When I was first going through, like if you see my early streams, like from last year, you'll notice that I actually sometimes don't even finish within 65 minutes. So at that time, I would just like change color to a different color pen after 65 minutes and finish it off at like 67 minutes, 68 minutes sometimes. And the big reason why was with the new SAT when I was taking it, because I used to teach the old SAT. When I took the new SAT. The new SAT materials for the first time last year, I was not ready for all that science. I was just like not ready. I was like, man, I don't remember biology. I don't remember geology. All this stuff is overwhelming. So that stuff was like taking me a long time to get through. I was also, it's been a while, it's been a couple years. It had been a couple years since I took practice tests, so it took me a while to get back into the rhythm. But now I think I take around like 59 to 60 minutes, 58 to 60 minutes, just because I got used to the genre conventions again, which is something I talk about all the time. The genre conventions of the science passages. I was like, okay, right, this is what I'm looking for when I'm reading science passages, and it just sort of like, even though if I don't fully understand the concepts, it's just like, oh, I know what to label this, right? I know what to signpost this. Oh, this is the background. Okay, this is the results. This is the experiment design, and I just like move through it much more quickly. For the English, by the way, for the writing, it's always taken me way less time than what's it? It's been a while since I taught writing. Writing is 35 minutes, right? Yeah, writing's 35 minutes. It takes me like 25 minutes if I'm like, it's just, yeah, it takes me like 25 minutes. The new SATs have the short passages, not these long passages. I think the jury's out. I mean, we have to actually see it before we make a decision, I think, because if you, like, I'm teaching the old SAT short passages, guys, and you guys would probably hate it. Like right now, I'm teaching the old SAT short passages to some younger students who are not going to take the current SAT. They're kind of just doing a summer program to sort of get used to the reading SAT level difficulty level passages, and you would hate these short passages from back in the day before 2016. They're not easy. We'll see how, but I philosophically, I see how they're changing, and I'm curious what the College Board is doing, because generally speaking, I have pretty high trust in College Board's test design. Their tests are good. So, and there are changes from the old SAT to the new SAT. They make sense to me why they're changing it that way. I won't get into details about it right now, but yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to what the College Board does. Daniel, the whole thing though about focusing on a whole passage, honestly, that's something I actually think that the College Board should keep testing. I think that the College Board should keep, because the problem with short passages sometimes becomes like overly intricate logical questions, and that is also useful, especially like the LSAT, for example, has a lot of those. If you're trying to be a lawyer, you should be really good at super intricate, like logical questions. And the shorter the passage, the more the questions can tend to be that way. But with long passages, it becomes more about my strategy about read the whole thing and can you map it? Can you just read? And that's a different skill from like, I read these 3 sentences and they're right next to each other and they're kind of quickly transitioning between these ideas, and what's like the underlying logic there? Like that's what the short passages back in the old SAT tended to focus on, and that was a lot more like the LSAT for like people trying to go into law school, and that's also an important skill. Again, like I said, but it's harder. It's harder. It's actually harder than reading if you don't have the abilities. Do you think it's possible to get a prac test? I mean, it's always possible, but we have to work with a lot of variables there. So let's talk about the first variable. Let's say that you already took 20 practice tests between 2021 and 2022, and now you're trying to take 4 more practice tests and trying to get to 670 to 710. Okay, I would say probably not, because now suddenly, you're like overly practiced, and this is like your best effort, 670. Then that would be insane. So that's one big difference. Also, Loy, thanks for that question. I'm curious how other people respond. So if you've already practiced a lot, that would change your likelihood of getting that score. Like if you have a solid base reading skill for literature and speech and debate and science research, then that would also change the answer. here. If you've also never had a lot of grammar instructions, so your grammar, you just need to kind of learn the basic grammar concepts, that would change the answer here. Here's basically what I would say, okay? If you want to go from 670 to 770 in literally 1 month, it's very low probability that this is all true, but you have to be already naturally close to a 770. Naturally, right? Which means you probably should be a straight A plus student in your classes. Like you should be like near the top of your you should be like near the top of your class in all of your classes, if not the top. And you must have already read a lot of books, and you're kind of familiar with all the ideas from U.S. history and sort of just general global democracy. And you're okay. You're not scared by science. You can read about like isotopic signatures of random rocks and water, and you're like, whatever, that doesn't bother me. And you're bad at grammar. Like you just don't know grammar. But if you learn grammar in 2 weeks, you can finalize it all in the next 2 weeks. Like it's already like you're smart enough that you can learn this grammar in like 4 weeks. Like you're just like, because usually American schools are terrible at teaching grammar, so you can just catch up really fast. And if that's basically all true, then you can jump from 670 to 770, because 770 is a very high score. So you have to be in the top 1% of the United States to be 770. So your natural ability has to be already in the top 1%, and it's just that you're not used to the format of the SAT. The SAT reading, and you're also just not used to all these grammar questions. That's the only reason why you're not actually hitting 770 right now, but your natural ability is 770, and you just need to clean up your habits to get to 770. Okay, but you have to be real about this, because 770 you are aiming at the top 1%. So the question is, are you the top 1%? Because that's a number, and that's a number that has to have some sort of background with it, right? It has meaning with it, right? So know the meaning. Now, if you are not naturally the top 1%, then maybe you should give yourself some time, because there are things that you can do to build up. There are things that you can do to build up those skills. You can build up your familiarity with science concepts. You can build up your familiarity with science research genre conventions, and then you can start building up. Okay, I can map this out. I didn't have a natural reading ability for this, but I can quickly build this out. But it would take you more than a month. I mean, it would not be realistic to do it in. Well, I guess you have 5-6 weeks instead of 4 weeks, but it'd still not really be realistic to do it in 6 weeks. Because 770 again is top 1%, whereas 670 I think is probably like top 10%. Okay, SAT score percentiles. Like, let's go double check. Uh, 670. I'm just gonna divide 670. So 670 times 2 is 1340, right? So if you're 1340, yeah, top 10%. You'd be around top 10% versus top 1%. Those are two different pools. Those numbers 670, 770, they seem like just like static linear numbers. They're not linear. So you do have to be aware of this. That said, I don't think anyone should merely lower their goals. They should be like, okay, if this goal is really high, then they should just make a quick assessment. What do I need to do to achieve that, right? And again, I'm saying there are paths. This is going to actually take me a while to explain, but there are things that you can do to improve your genuine reading ability. You can improve that in a couple months. Even in 1 month, you can see a big change. Although I don't know about top 1% change, but like you can see a big change by improving your understanding of genre conventions and being able to answer the questions more quickly, and also getting all the sort of nitpicky grammar things that you sort of should have learned in 7th and 8th and 9th grade, but you kind of didn't, because American education and grammar is like so neglected. Like catching up on the grammar, like just by doing that, you could probably jump at least 50 points. So that's more realistic. Let me answer history passages. Here we go. how to understand and engage with history passages. I mean, I have in my head, I already have like 4 or 5 different things I commonly say to this. I'm just trying to figure out, like, like what's like the most efficient thing to say to a person who's generic, like a generic person out there that I don't even know, that I don't know the background of. But quick little comment about my style. I tend not to be the type of person that says you need to do this and in sort of a general way. I tend to be the kind of person who's like, wait, so what's your actual problem though? And like ask you questions about your problem. Because I don't like, I mean, I know it's better content if I just say, these 3 mistakes are holding you from the 750 or whatever, and then just like assume that everyone's making that same mistake, and it's like it's better marketing, it's better content. But it's just not it's not the way I think. The way I think is, what's your problem? Like, what's your actual problem? Do I even really know what your problem is? Like, that's sort of my approach. That's why I take some time before I think about these things, before I start speaking about these things. But anyway, I'll just give you the most generic thing because your question is pretty broad. So, guys, when you find any passage kind of boring, it's almost certainly because you don't really know, one, what's supposed to come out. You don't have an idea of what's supposed to come out. So that means you're not tracking, right? Let me give an example from, like, if you're watching sports, for example, and if you're watching like soccer, for example, and I'm not really a soccer player, so I'm gonna garble this. I'm gonna bungle this metaphor, but if you're watching a soccer player and you're really into the midfielder position, then you can kind of predict all the movements, right? When you're watching a screen with a single person moving around the field, but actually in your head, you're actually watching like 5 or 6 different possibilities constantly. You're thinking, oh, he could go this way, he could go this way. So there's like a hypothetical overlay of like 4 or 5 different options that you're constantly watching at the same time. When you're in that position, you're never bored, Even if the midfielder's just there, it's like kind of like panting and tired and doing nothing. You're never bored because you're imagining, okay, it's going to take him this much time to catch his breath. And then you're going to be like, and then he could go this way or he could go this way. He could do this, right? He could signal to his teammate this thing. You're thinking about all the possibilities. It's the same with reading. When you're reading a paragraph and it's just like this horribly complicated sentence, you could be bored, or you could conversely be like imagining, okay, so what's going to happen next? What's like the next, what are the 2 or 3 next possibilities, right? When you are thinking in that frame, you will not be bored. It's just a fact. You cannot be bored because you're imagining what could happen. So the first reason why you're finding something boring, this could be history, it could be anything else though, is you don't even know what to expect. That gets us into, so generally speaking, when that's the case, here's my tips. Look at the blurb and look at the last paragraph and this is a sort of emergency measure, honestly. This is not something you should be doing for every single passage. But look at the blurb, look at the last paragraph, try to imagine a through line. Like, what is the line that gets from the beginning to the end? Okay? When I say line, it's obviously not a physical line. It's a sort of logical line. Like, what are the arguments or what are the information that needs to come out in order for us to get from beginning to end? Okay? Second is with when you are bored, the other thing that will really help you though is because what I'm giving you is very much a black-white kind of tool. You want to really understand the genre conventions. Now, for history passages, you need to understand the genre conventions of history, which is specifically not history. It's what it is it's speech and debate. You need to understand what appeals to emotion are. You need to understand what building up credibility means and what kinds of moves are typical for building up credibility. You need to understand, claims, reasons, evidence. I mean, that's actually less important than you would imagine, but actually, but getting a basic understanding is useful. And basically all the things that you will learn in AP language that will help for the history passage. Finally, Banazun is adding this whole thing about the language that's being confusing. If that's the real problem, then you have to get much better at understanding subject-verb and finding the subject-verb pair. So if you're weak on subject-verb agreement in the grammar, it will destroy your history reading it will destroy your understanding of the sentences in the reading. So you need to, if you are bad at subject-verb agreement in grammar, that is number one priority right now. You have to be able to be like, this is the verb. It takes me less than 1 second to figure it out. Like, I don't need to like hunt for the verb. You know, that processing time needs to be it has to be less than 1 second. After that, then you have to start learning to separate out the main clauses from the subordinate clauses and the modifiers, you know, and being like, okay, where's the focus of the sentence? But that becomes a much more tricky grammatical exercise, and that takes more time to build up. Praying that I have 20 more. Okay, so going back to working study, I just started practically 2.5 weeks ago. I've practically done then a push. I'm not sure what that, but you know what you're saying is, generally speaking, you're scared because you're not sure that you can get 770. And for some reason, and there must be some reason why 770 is meaningful to you. And I'm gonna working study. I'm just gonna challenge you to really consider, like, where's that? Here, let me open this. Like, in your experience, okay, apart from the AP, like using things like the AP, using things like, you know, any competitions you've been in your experience, just generally speaking, would your math level be at the top 1%? Okay, the top 2%, the top 10%, right? Would your reading levels be at the top 1%, you know, top 10% in the nation? Like, just using the measures that you like know. Also, the schools, the colleges that you are aiming at, are they in the top 1% or 2% or 5% or 10%? Like, roughly, where are you? If you have a belief you are in the top 1%, then you could just be aiming here. Okay, you could be aiming here. Now, it's just a matter of it's almost a technicality then. Like, if this belief is a really strong, well-founded belief, like there's real evidence for this, that in generally speaking in other areas, not the SAT yet because you're not used to it, but in other areas you are actually the top 1%, then you should be aiming for this. After that point, it's basically a technicality. Are you going to get it within 1 month or 3 months? You know, that's just a matter of technically, can you learn the amount of content that's necessary to reflect your true abilities within only 1 month, or will it take you 3 months, or will it take you 5 months? Right? Like, that's just a separate implementation detail. It's not sort of the big picture. So just keep that in mind. Now going back to, how do I get a strong map of the passage? So Loy is asking about strong map of the passage. I'm trying to make sure I didn't skip any other. Praying that math bails you out. I didn't skip anyone's questions, did I? If I skipped your questions, you can just re-ask. You can just ask them again, just because, you know, it's a lot for me to handle right now while I'm thinking. And it's also like 6:15 a.m. Oh my God, it's 6:15. I have to go. So I have to go in like 5-10 minutes. So this is probably going to be my last question, and then I'm going to go on YouTube comments and then finish off my YouTube comments. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at the same time. So here we go. How do you get a good map of the passage? The best way to get a good map of the passage actually is to just not look at the questions. Like, first, not look at the questions and let yourself fall flat on your face. Okay? Read the whole passage. and realize how good or bad your actual reading is. Read the whole passage first, and then first little mini challenge. Okay, this is something, depends on how good you are, but you can try this. Try to see how many questions out of 10 or 11 you can actually answer with some confidence without looking back at the passage. Okay, for me, I oftentimes can do 3. It depends on the passage, honestly, but on a really good passage, sometimes I can do up like 5 or 6. Oftentimes, as long as I'm not like super tired, super sleepy, super just like out of it, usually I can do like 2 or 3. I can answer a question, looking at the question stem, looking at the answer choices. I could circle it right away, what the answer is, without looking back at the passage, because I remember what the passage said. I call this the no-look answer. I don't know if there's a better word for it right now. It's just the only word I have for it. But I call this the no-look answer. You look at the question stem, you already know the answer, you circle it and you move on. Now, there are 2 types of no-look answers. One is using process elimination, and one is without process elimination. When I say using process elimination, what that means is you look at the question stem, you have a fuzzy idea, and then you go through A, you eliminate, B, eliminate, C, eliminate, D, circle, and you're like, you only got confidence in D because the other 3 are wrong, right? That is with process elimination. Without process elimination is you look at the question stem, you skim over A, B, C, D, and you're like, D is right, and then you move on. So that's without process elimination. I think that's actually the thing you should be focusing on. How many questions can you get right without even bothering with the elimination? Just sort of like knowing, oh, that's exactly what I predicted because I read that like 5 minutes ago. And you just circle it and you move on. Again, my range is anywhere between like 2 to like 6, depending on how well I read. So once you do that, you'll realize how bad you are at reading. And then you'll start getting better at reading. But you can never get better at reading if you start using crutches like, okay, I'll read one paragraph and then look for question 12 or 13, which asks about this one paragraph. Like you're not going to get better at reading that way. You're just not. You're going to get better at those questions. You're going to get better at the detailed questions. You're going to get better at you're going to occasionally get lucky with the inference questions, but you're not going to actually get better at reading that way. The second way of getting, but the real way of generally building, the really generalizable way of getting good at building out a map of the passage is understand these genre conventions and labeling it, right? It's like, oh, okay, so I'm in a science passage. Oh, this is background. This is like why they started the research. Oh, okay, this is, this is experiment design. I should really slow down and like figure out the variables that are in this. Okay, these are the results. That was a little different from what I expected. Okay, this is a discussion. Oh, hey, here's the counter position. Okay, here's the refutation of the counter position, or here's how they're going to stress the counter position. Oh, okay, and this is future research. You have to be able to like label it really quickly in your head, and so then you kind of, as you're reading, you're sort of labeling, you're signposting it, is my metaphorical way of speaking about it. You're signposting it. Oh, here's the sign over here. Take a left over here because this is where we turned into experiment design. Okay, this is where we turned out into experiment results. This is impact. This is the impact statement. Okay, so I was expecting the impact statement to come out in the front, but it actually comes out in the middle. Okay, and like you like signpost it along the way, and then once you're done, you basically will remember the whole passage. Like it's just, you can't avoid remembering the passage when you've signposted the whole passage. Okay, so Carnegie Mellon, by the way, good luck. Good school. Good luck with your studies. And I don't want to like, be too marketing-y, but I am going to build out a course. I am offering a course right now for motivated kids who are finding me through YouTube. If you want to learn more about the course, you can just jump into Discord and ask me questions. This is a course for the August SAT, and I will teach you in this course. I will not teach all the sort of really basic things that you can get through books, which is, oh, this is a main idea question. Oh, this is a specific detail question. Oh, this is an inference question. I'm not going to go through that. I think question by question test prepping is actually not that useful for reading in particular. So I'll focus instead more on, okay, this is a literature passage. What are the genre conventions? How do we get through this? what are like the techniques for like what are like the things that you can do in your actual test taking that you can experiment with to make your test taking a little better. I need to find a better, more catchy way of saying everything I just said. But anyway, that's the best I could do at this moment. So if you're interested, you can come into the Discord channel. I think the link should be it's in the description below. And we can chat about that. I'll stop talking about my course. If you're interested, you can jump in. Okay, cool. So I think that covers most of the big questions. I just want to quickly answer number 28 real quick. So let me get through this. Oh, I see. It's a comparison question. Here, let me show an average loss of mass. This loss of mass was notably larger than the loss of mass of each of its control group, right? No, then the loss of mass of its then that of its control group would also work. So let's just look at 28. Oh, did I just circle it? Oh, I did just circle it. Okay. Okay, so I wasn't even looking. 28 is right here. Okay. Oh, dude, my mouse doesn't show up when what's it called? When I'm using this screen. So annoying. Okay, well, yeah, I just need to explain that of because here. Okay, I need to type it over here. Showed a loss of mass that was notably larger than the loss of mass of its control group. Now I just need to find the previous sentence before that. Okay, each rock type showed a loss of mass that was noticeably larger than the rock type's control group. Okay. For sure. Pay attention to the pronoun antecedents. Here, I'll just do this. Okay, so that's the quick what's it called? Explanation of breakdown of the grammar there. So we're done with that. I have one more question in front of me, which was that's Loy. I literally said that. Okay, I guess I should go and answer that for future. Not for Lloyd. Lloyd just heard all my whole answer, but I could at least what do you call it? Lloyd, thank you for the public subscription. I had never seen this little thing before, so I was just kind of curious what that was. This little icon. How do I get a strong map of the passive fast? I'll type it out because besides Lloyd, there are probably gonna be other people in the who will find that video and want to read that answer. All right, guys, I'm about to go. Everyone, have a good evening or kick-ass day wherever you are in the world. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.